want to get some coffee or something?
Can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Even little kids in Mexico drink coffee.
Well, I'm not a little kid in Mexico, okay?
That is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
You want a cup of coffee?
No coffee.
Coffee drinker, huh?
Maybe we could grab some coffee?
Coffee! Coffee, 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 coffee!
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on us.
Shit. All right, so look, man. Good morning. But I got to say something. So, you know, life throws some really weird mysteries at us. How I can fall in love at the age of 58. That's nothing compared to the mysteries of the human brain and laundry.
What?
Because, look, man, yesterday, my brain lied to me 5 times that I was already awake and doing shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, let me just explain. I'm up and doing stuff, preparing for the show. And then my brain goes, because I have lucid dreaming. I suddenly become aware, wait a minute. I'm not really awake. This is fucked up. This isn't 5 fucking times before
This
I finally
is your brain
got up
lying to
yesterday. And then I lay out my clothes every night before I get up, you know, before I go to bed. Before I go to bed, my clothes for the next day are laid out. Okay? I laid out 2 socks. There are no fucking cats in my room. There are, there's like 12 or 14 cats in this house right now, including the kittens.
14, I think.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. But it's fun, but it's insane. None of them go in my room. I do not allow them in the room because I'm allergic. It has to be the one place where I can sleep without having allergy attacks from them, okay? I woke up. I grab a sock, throw it on. Oh, it's gone. I'm looking everywhere. I look under the bed. I'm like, did it fall into my shorts? So I look in my shorts to see if it, you know, got locked in there and it's trapped. But no, it's
you know, socks have a life of their own. That's why they disappear.
And it's something beyond that. There's a portal in hell. It goes straight from here to hell. And
single socks
disappear. I mean, I've heard the joke for decades of dryers. Yeah, I get that. They eat clothing. But I laid out
dryers.
2 socks. I laid out 2 socks this morning. Well, last night. Well, technically it was this morning because for some reason some beautiful woman kept me up all night. And so what the fuck is going on with socks?
You have a black hole in your room.
Okay, somebody's going to make a joke about backdoor. I'm already predicting that one.
I don't think they're that awake yet. No, it's Monday and it's early, so
we could do another bad joke, like asking socks bulletins, for example. Had you something to do with this?
Oh, he's here. Yeah, make a sock joke, socks.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't feel like it. It's like I just don't get it. I don't get it. I understand that the brain can play tricks on you, but my brain can only fool me for so long before I start going, whoa. But I wake up and that sock is missing this morning. And that fucking weirds me out. Like, what the fuck? I looked under the bed, like, did I accidentally pull it up onto the bed when I grabbed my shorts? No, it's just not there.
That's weird.
But on the the positive side, I wear special diabetic socks that work with my circulation and go up over my calves, and it's really good for me. And once they start developing holes, because I don't like to wear shoes around the house, so I wear out the bottoms of my socks.
Ah, yeah, same.
So they're starting to wear thin. So it's time for me to buy some more. Thing that sucks is they're super expensive. The medical grade socks I like to wear because they're the most comfortable. I bought diabetic socks at all kinds of places. None of them work. There's this one style that I buy off Amazon. Only one seller that sells these beautiful, fucking comfortable calf high socks, man. I love wearing them. I feel like I'm being hugged all day long. Well, at least my legs feel like they're being hugged. But man, oh man, it's fucking Monday, man. It's fucking Monday.
Yeah, where did the weekend go?
So I want to say good morning to everybody. So who's all here? Penny, good morning. She's the first one in the house. Look at that.
Morning, Penny.
And I apologize for being a few minutes late, but trying to find my fucking sock. And I show up late and I'm like, hey guys, gotta bump it up because I haven't even made my coffee yet. And I'm still flummoxed over my fucking, there's another word for you, Anima, that you have to.
No, I know that one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He likes to make me look stupid by throwing words at me.
I don't mean to, but I like have like this
Hello,
vocabulary.
It's not my first language.
I have a large vocabulary, and I tend to dumb my vocabulary down because it's exhausting sometimes knowing all those words, and I used to have a deep drawer with a fast retrieval system, and then I hit 50, and it started going, you know what? I've had it with you. Fuck you. Get your own retrieval system. I'm like, you are my retrieval system. You don't get to quit, and it quit. So my retrieval system's a lot slower than it used to be. Same thing with Keith. It's really funny. After he hit 50, woohoo! Keith.
Speaking of Keith, is he joining?
I have no clue.
Or do we let him sleep?
I have no clue. Let me go look and see if he's responded. Keith. He hasn't even read my invite yet. He's fucking asleep. He's asleep.
So I guess it's just us.
I'm going to do like I did last Monday and let him sleep and not worry about it.
Nice.
Plus, I guarantee he didn't watch the show.
Yeah, neither did John. And Scott said in chat that he's going to have us on in the background. So I guess we're on our own.
Yeah, his voice. He lost it. He went from sounding like, midnight radio DJ to Wolfman Jack.
Oh.
So, I am down to one bar this morning. It's just not giving me anymore. I can't fucking believe the internet at this house today. There's nobody here. Are you guys? Yes. I'm yelling at the cats. Are you guys on the internet? No? I don't fucking know. So good morning, Scott.
Someone leeching on it.
Good morning, Zacharot315. Good morning, D-Bud Martin. Let's see who else is here. Dr. Dragon. Oh, yeah. Hi. Good morning, bitch. Yeah, fuck you, too.
Look what Penny says.
I am going through the names. Das Wolfen. Good morning, buddy. Let's see. Sox Bulletins. Good morning, my friend. Kingsport Cal. Black Has. Oh, man. It's like we got half the crew. Well, almost half the crew. Nicholas Glenn is here. Good morning. Nicholas, I agree. I just, since they moved to Paramount, man, it has upped their game. Every time I say socks, you think I'm talking about you. Bill Barkley. Greetings, laddie. Oh, it's just another wee Monday. And Penny, what did Penny say? I don't see. My cats like to run off. Now, see, that was the thing. I knew you guys would run off with that. Somebody go, we got little cats. They don't get in my room at all. It is absolutely cat-proof room.
Are you sure?
Absolutely, 100.
Because Loki knows to open doors.
110%. There's no
okay.
fucking way a cat gets into my room. unless I take them in there, because I have a very specific way I go into my room, and I shut the door immediately behind me, and I'm always watching the floor, because that little gray shit right there, I'm looking at you. Yeah, fuck you too. She constantly like she will make a bolt for my door because she wants in there so bad. What's in there? Why won't you let us in?
Yeah, what's forbidden is even more interesting. Cats are like kids with that.
I have not watched the new Full Metal Alchemist movie. I have not watched it yet. I saw it. I hope it's delicious, Martin. Whatever you're eating. It sounds scrumptious. Did he mute? Nope, he didn't mute. He just stopped eating. Christopher is here. Chris, how you doing, buddy? Our cat Vincent eats socks, and he's a ninja. Absolutely, I'm the fucking ninja in this house. I'm the one that walks up quietly behind people. I'm the fucking ninja in this house. These cats can't fucking out ninja me. I've never met a cat that can out ninja me. I'm just telling you, man.
You haven't met me yet in real life. I can.
Well,
we could say you're the ninja gay then.
What is jor?
What?
What? We could say that jor. I said, what's jor?
Is you are very, very, very bad pronounced.
Yes, I know. You are Khan. So, good morning, everybody. It's Monday. I don't know if we're ever going to get up to our normal number of viewers, but we can go ahead and start talking. Man, oh man, I want to show footage from last night because Anima sat up and watched both episodes, new episodes with me from the show. I pause every once in a while to explain what's happening, what's militarily, what's going on, why this is important. Break down any jargon for her. She's never heard it before.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about military stuff, so I have a million questions, which is why it's so great to watch it with him because he's the expert. So it was really nice.
You'll typically hear military people. Tango is the famous one. We've heard that so many times. In order to psychologically shield ourselves in the military from the potential of having to harm the enemy, we and that's why we have such a high, because like in 1911 all the way to the end of World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, we were at about a 30% shoot and kill rate. That's where only 1/3 of your actual active soldiers on the front line firing are actually aiming at an enemy and trying to kill them. The reason why is because these are drafted. And this is the big argument, and I get it. This is the big argument against the draft, is that you're forcing people to do something that may be morally abhorrent to them. They may be terrified at the idea of taking a life. And so therefore, a bulk of your soldiers don't actually shoot to kill if they're infantry during those wars, conflicts. Because technically, Korea and Vietnam were not wars, they were conflicts. In fact, Korea is referred to as a police action, even though the Vietnam War was closer. Well, I mean, let's go back in time. The Revolutionary War was a civil war, and the Civil War was a revolutionary war. They really were. You have to understand the definition of what the name of the war means. And it's like, how did those names get so fucked up? It's really weird. People not understanding what things are. The Revolutionary War was a civil war because we were trying to break from the British Empire. The Civil War was one section of the country wanted to separate from the other. That's not a civil war. That is a revolutionary war. It's a revolt. The revolt we had was before the war began in the Revolutionary War. And once it became a war, it became a civil war. Gap After Dark is here. Good morning, Gap. How are you doing, my
Hi,
friend?
Gab.
So the only war we ever declared was World War I. Act of Congress. World War II wasn't required. Japan declared war on us, and within a very short period of time, the Germans, being part of the Axis of Evil, decided for some stupid reason to declare war on us because we were just helping the British. And we had a lot of volunteers serving, but the fact is we were not engaged in that war. We were engaged in the Pacific. And then Hitler made the biggest mistake historically ever made, it could have ever made.
Yeah.
He declared war against the United States. And we said, well, okay, well, all right, we're going to send a bunch of guys that don't fucking want to be there to do a job so they can fucking go home. And of course, the French and the English always resent that because they're like, keep a stiff upper lip, old man. We're going to fight this battle. And then the Americans come in and go, all right, we're going to kick these guys' ass. You're going to hate us, and we don't fucking care. We just want to go home. Fuck our women. And that's the way the wars go. And then Korea happens, police action, no declaration. And then Vietnam came, and it was like one of the weirdest wars we ever fought because we had lost the ability as a nation to fight. We had lost it, and which is the big mistake George W. Bush made with the Gulf War is that, he didn't put. They forgot how in World War II how to put the American citizenry in a war footing, because you need to. Every single citizen should be aware of what's going on, why it's going on, and the importance of it. And they, Vietnam to today, they just don't do that. So their heart's never in it. Their heart is never in it. The military's heart is in it. The soldier is always in it. They're always there. But once again, all the way up to Vietnam, 30% kill ratio. When you get to the Gulf War, all the way up to the second Gulf War, it is damn near 98% kill ratio for infantry soldiers. And again, that's because it was volunteer. And people complain about the military. Don even talks about it. Now, I wouldn't argue with him on most aspects of it, but I absolutely do stand behind a volunteer military. The problem is once a war starts, getting people to volunteer starts dropping.
Yeah, well,
a lot
I wonder why.
Well, a lot of them want to join for college. I ran into a couple of those guys, and I didn't like them. They pissed me off. They're like, I only joined college. I didn't want to go to war. And I'm like, it's the military.
Look, with college being so ridiculously expensive, it's kind
of
understandable.
Your MOS it has the word combat in its name.
Yeah.
It literally, if you don't know what an MOS, it's your job title in the military, your MOS. Your military operational specialty or occupational specialty. And like mine specifically is called a combat medic. We work in hospitals. It's true. A lot of combat medics work in hospitals. I didn't. I was an infantry guy. So the soldiers today have a higher kill ratio. So what I like about this show is it actually shows the mindset of your typical combat effective soldier. Now, Navy doesn't like to be called soldiers, but once you are fucking doing soldier work, you get called a soldier whether you like it or not. Killing people with an infantry weapon, assault weapon, is not Navy. It's not Air Force, but Air Force and Navy both have special forces. And once they are boots on the fucking ground, door kickers, they're grunts. I don't care what branch of the military you are. If you're a grunt, you're a fucking grunt. And a grunt is your typical infantry guy. And so the Navy SEALs and Tier 1 operators in the Navy and in the Air Force are all modified operational grunts. Whether they like it or not, that's what they are. I don't fucking care. They can argue with me all they want. It's pride. It's some stupid fucking pride thing. It's like, why are you arguing against being a grunt, you motherfucker? That's a thing to be proud of. I was a grunt.
I like the term door kicker.
Door kickers are the guys that they're breachers. They're the guys who and I was trained to door kick, but my job was, because I was a medic, I was always last man in the stack. So I was never allowed to go in the door first. I always had to be the last guy in the stack. And I know there are going to be backdoor jokes about that. I don't care.
You're inviting them, Gerry.
Because I got to tell you guys, you know, there are two things I don't like fucking, you know, because some people make jokes about it. I don't take jokes about military service or what I do for my living as an artist. I can't joke about it. I don't like when people joke about it. You can joke about almost anything in this life, but those are the two things I take my greatest pride in. And I guess being a father would be another thing I took pride in. So 3 things I really took pride in. Doing what I do for a living, because it took a lot of years of practice, training to be as good as I am. And in the military, I did that because I needed a change in my life, and I'm a big fucking patriot. So I served. I served at the age of 26. All the guys I served with were 17 to 18. Almost everybody I served with, except for one other dude. He was a 35-year-old black man. And I think he was from Indiana. I think he was from Indiana. And he was talking to me one day, and he says, drill sergeant said that I should speak to you about going over some of the, and I went, oh my God, dude, you are the whitest sounding dude I've ever met in my life. And he frowned at me, and I went, and you have no sense of humor. Awesome. You're going to do great in the military. Yeah. Everybody hated that poor guy. They couldn't stand him because he was very officious. You know, he wasn't efficient. He was officious. And there's nothing worse than meeting people who are officious in the military, because they're not effective people. They won't help you. And even to help themselves, they won't help you. And that's what he was. I wouldn't call him a buddy fucker. He wasn't, you know, or we refer to him as blue falcons in the military. A blue falcon means buddy fucker.
Okay.
My dad was a paratrooper on D-Day, one of the first men to hit occupied France. He must have been 82nd Airborne. I think that's who went in to take that bridge in France. Let me double check. Hold on. The book is No Better Place to Die. I was the artist that storyboarded the entire screenplay based off of that book. Yeah, 82nd Airborne Division. Yep. They went into Normandy, man. And that was a bloody fucking, one of the bloodiest battles in World War II is fought in country in Normandy. Oh, British Army. Fucking limeys. Fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. I love the limeys. No, that's great, man. Hope you're proud of him, man. Hope you're proud of him, because it is an honor to come from that bloodline. When you come from warriors. This is really good coffee. What I did, I went and got some sugar-free chocolate syrup this weekend and some more Splenda. And I have the perfect ratio of chocolate, heavy cream, and Splenda right now with my 3.5 scoops of Folgers.
Sounds like breakfast more than coffee.
Yeah, and I just ordered some. I'm going to try it because I've never had, what's it called, Maxwell House? And I don't know which one's better for instant coffee, Folgers or Maxwell House. But I ordered some.
European, I don't know.
UK doesn't matter. Shut up, Kingsport Gallic does. I got to tell you, we have some great allies in this world when it comes to wars. And 3 of the unsung countries that have stood by us in conflict. And one of the biggest is Australia.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And Japan has oddly been very much there with many of our little conflicts. They have a really good special forces team. Now, they've never had a stand. It wasn't until the last 2 decades that they started getting a real standing military. They asked us, is it okay? Because they were outlawed from having one. They're allowed to have a military solely for defense, period.
But they're really good on technology. So
they're very good.
They're a good ally.
Okay, let's go back to the 80s. I was the artist on an article from Selling Power magazine talking about that very subject. It says, how Japan ate our lunch. And MacArthur's program, the way he set it up there in Japan, is why they're so far ahead of us. And it was kind of a fuck up. It really was, because when they hit the point where they could effectively create technology quicker and cheaper than us, it hurt us. And we did that. We did that. Our nation building program after World War II is one of the best you'll ever fucking see. And we created an environment where countries that we shouldn't have allowed to get ahead of us got ahead of us. And in the 80s, it really bit us in the ass with technology. Japan, they just beat the fuck out of us. But I mean, Jesus Christ, the automotive industry, we now have, I'm going really off on a tangent, a branch of what we're talking about, but they have just fucking beat the shit out of us. I'm not going to go there. I need to head back into what I really want to talk about, which is this fucking
SEAL
show.
team.
No shit, sweetheart, I love you, but come on. I know what I'm talking about. SEAL team.
I'm just helping.
Is this going to be our relationship until we die? It's like, baby, I'm going to tell you the things that you already know you're talking about. I'm going to state the obvious.
Well, sometimes I'm not sure you know what you're talking about. So,
no, I don't know. I do know what I'm talking about, but I do tangents, and they're tangents that look. You can make fun of it all you want. Make fun of it all you want to. There's information gleaned every time I do this. Keith does it too. Keith and I both have this bad habit of taking off on a branch. And it comes from the fact that we both grew up watching a show called Connections.
Mm-hmm.
Connections was one of the greatest science and technology shows most people today have never even fucking heard of. You've heard of Cosmos, but did you hear of the hit series Connections? No. Nobody fucking remembers that except for the guys and girls that fucking watched it. And it was a brilliant show produced over in the UK and shot all over the world. And the host was British. This is in the 80s. I said 80s. You pay attention.
Hello.
Come on, honey, stay with me. The 1980s. And it started actually, technically, it started in 79. And but it went through into the 80s. It was like 1 year in the 70s. It's not a 70s show. It's an 80s show. And the entire purpose of it is to show this one thing from then to something today and show how it's connected. Every episode, it was always dealing with technology. And it was mind-boggling to kids like Keith and I. We were just like stuck to the screen, like, that's amazing. And that is how our brains work. Our brains work that way. So we always connect things. And it always leads to a new thread. It's not disconnected. It's not associated. It is associated. It's completely directly connected to whatever it is we're talking about. So it seems like ADD to you guys, but it's really still connected. It has DNA from what we started with.
Read the chat.
Yeah, I'm not, that's nobody.
Guys, I'm trying.
Nobody gets to do that. That's my job.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's wonderful about people like me is the fact that even though we're ADD, I'm able to take us back to the original conversation, and I will always direct it back. That's why I direct this show. That's why they want me to direct this show. That's why I've done this morning show, is to learn how to do it. This morning show is me learning how to do what I need to do on our other shows. And ADD or not, if you can't keep up, it's not my problem. It's your slow brains. If you can't
Dissing
make
the audience, nice.
Yeah, I'm dissing the people that are dissing me right now.
Okay, fair.
I'm just saying, if you guys can't see where I'm going, that's not my problem.
Somebody wants you to check your messages.
Check your which messenger, Facebook or Twitter. Because I hate it when I go and I have to check 4 fucking accounts to figure out which one you're talking about.
I would assume it's Facebook.
Nope. You assumed wrong. It is not Facebook. So I'm going to my personal Twitter.
Well, he's saying...
Sorry, guys. I'm going to stop the show for a moment because Glenn Filming needs me to go find a message in one of my fucking messages.
He says Facebook.
Okay. Thank you. Now, it's not my personal. So clearly he's talking about our PCM.
Where's my apology?
So I got to open another browser tab and go there. And okay, fuck off. It's not there either. I don't know where you sent it. You think I'm fucking kidding? I'm sitting here. I'm going to show my fucking screen. Share screen.
Just check Twitter.
Glenn, I swear to Christ, man. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
What? I didn't do anything.
No, it's a quote from a movie. I was talking to Fleming. I said, Fleming, you're killing me, man. You're killing me, Smalls. Okay. There, no messages there from you. Okay. No messages from you. Those are my 2 Facebook accounts that I use. So you're killing me, man. I have no you have. It is not in either of those, dude. I'm showing you both of my.
He says you have 2 accounts. I sent it to the one you said last week.
I use this account, Glenn. This is the account I told you I use.
Glenn, you're killing the show.
If you sent it to the one where I'm fat and holding my puppy, that is...
Jesus, Captain Ahab, let the whale go.
Glenn, save it for after show. Fucking call me fucking ADD. Jesus Christ.
Squirrel.
I love you, Glenn. You're a good guy, man. But I seriously do. Fuck up.
Hi, TT. We have a super chat.
Yes, I do. I know. I just put it up. Mr. Tickler, $5 Canadian. I'm 43. Connections, 1970. Was it 70? It was great. I watched it as a kid in Canada. There's also a BBC parody called Look Around. I've seen that one, dude. I've seen that. And that is one of the funniest fucked up things I've ever seen. It's so fucking funny. It's got the roommate from Shaun of the Dead as the host. The one who becomes a zombie in the shower. He's the host of the show. Great fucking show. Look around you. No, I've seen it, Mr. Tickle Trunk. I know the show you're talking. Absolutely brilliant. Because when I watched it, I'm like, what the? Because it was shot like it was in the 80s, but I'm like, hold on. I know that actor. This is modern. And once I realized I'm not sure, but I always felt it had some sort of kinship to Funny or Die. Because everybody that's involved with Funny or Die had some loose connection to that show. So through either friendship or something. And so I always thought it had something to do with it. But great show. Look Around You, 2002, really good show. I wish they'd gotten more seasons because I thought it was very clever what they did. And it really was a direct parody of the show that Mr. Tickle Trunk and I are talking about called Connections. Thank you for the super chat, man. For you, what am I going to play you? I think I'll play you something nice. Yeah, no, you deserve better than that one. Yes, because you're Canadian. I'm going to use this one. No, that's too filthy for you Canadians because you guys are so sorry. Yeah, fuck it. I'll do this.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Toxic masculinity. I'm all in.
Yep.
Thank you for the super chat, buddy. And yes, I do know that show, and I'm glad somebody knows what I'm talking about because it was a brilliant fucking show. Connections. What the fuck is he? I do not know it. According to Gerry, we're all behind the 8 ball. Okay, yeah, you're fucked. You're all fucked. It's called snooker for a reason, bitch. Anyway. Yeah, that's right. I know how to play pool. I see Arnold attended some German beer fest. Did he impregnate any housekeepers? I'm sorry, in Germany, Hausfraus?
Hausfrauen. Man, your German sucks.
Carl Weathers, native of Kingsport, Tennessee, lived there, wasn't born there. Oh. Do you know where he was born? I don't know. I love Carl Weathers, man. He's the shit. I love it when you see him just pop up in a movie. Like Adam Sandler fucking grabbed hold of him and fucking, I wish he was in more Adam Sandler films. Because I love Carl Weathers, man. One of the, like, does anybody remember that silly movie in the 80s called Action Jackson?
Yes.
I fucking love that movie, man. Oh my God. Carl Weathers is so good in that role. And Coach, I forget his name, the actor who played Coach in the series Coach, is the villain. And a lot of people don't know this about him. And that's why he did the role, is he is a lifelong martial artist. He's been doing martial arts since he was young. And he took it on, and he got to do a movie where he got to do some karate.
Yeah, Monkey Jeebus.
Good morning, Monkey Jeebus. Thank you. Come again. I'm hoping that Keith got a hold of you because I talked to him briefly last night, and we didn't really get a chance to have a good conversation because yesterday was date night, and I was told by some woman that I'm not supposed to talk to anybody except for her on our date night.
Because he kept getting
Craig T.
messages.
Nelson, that's who it was. Yeah, thank you. All right, so let's get into episode 1.
Yes.
Let's see. First of all, I want to say that since SEAL Team went to Paramount Plus and left CBS, it is the greatest thing that fucking happened to that show because now they can say fuck.
And
One, there's no such thing as a soldier who doesn't cuss. And I mean, cuss like a fucking sailor. They say that every branch cusses. My cussing was very minimum. I was a minimalist cusser until I went in the military. And almost every single insult either has or is started with the word fuck. It's because sometimes the word fuck is attached to another word. It becomes a contraction. Military contractions are funny. Fucktard, fuck chop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because what happens is it used to be fucking pork chop, fucking TARDIS, and they put them into one word, so it became fuck chop, fucktard. So it's built into the language in the military, and it is one of the greatest spices to add to any conversation to really make impact. You can say, look, man, I'm angry. I am angry right now. And you know what? Maybe you are. I can't really tell. But I'm fucking angry. All of a sudden you go, oh, he's angry.
Yep.
It is a flavor modifier for conversations. It enhances. And the military, it's also a great way of releasing stress. Just a rant. I remember one guy looked at me and goes, I've never heard the word fuck used so many different ways in one sentence. You fucking fucks are fucking me up. And so they are allowed to say fuck now. And they say it. It's sparing. They don't do it as much as we did in the military, but they use it. And I think it's because they're only allowed so many fucks per episode. Yeah, it sounds like porn, I know. And
hi, Max.
Oh, is Max here?
Yeah.
Oh, Magitech. Hi, good morning, Magitech. War Monkey's here too. Yeah, have I missed anybody else? Good morning.
Dragon
good morning,
Bricks.
Good morning. Didn't I say hi to Dragon Bricks? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Dragon Bricks too. Yep. Good morning, Dragon Bricks. Glad we're getting close. We're about 10 short of what our normal group is, but I don't care. It's Monday. Fuck is used for everything. It's a noun, verb, adverb, adjective. It's everything. That's right. And it is a spice for language. It is, like I said, a flavor enhancer for anything you're saying. So in the military, we use it a lot. And Navy SEALs SEAL team started using it. And I got to tell you, that History Channel Navy show, SEAL team show, started out okay and then went to woke garbage. When you see a Navy SEAL tell his fucking wife that he doesn't want her having a gun, you've just created a fantasy that never fucking happened. Every Navy SEAL wants their family protected at all times because they know that for what they do, that if they are ever discovered, their name, their family is immediately in danger. So they often train their own family in self-defense. And they have exit strategies for safety if something happens while they're away, deployed. And so that show is just bullshit, lefty Hollywood garbage. If you're going to depict Navy SEALs, you better fucking depict them. And I think this show does that in spades. They even have Thero's character is your typical modern kid that grew up in a woke environment with modern schools. So he's a little woke when he goes in. But you see how he grows as a character working with this team to where he lets go of a lot of that shit, which makes him, he's sort of an antagonist in the early seasons of the show.
I have to go back and watch them.
They're really good. And some of the conflict comes from the guy that becomes his battle boo.
I love that so much.
Their relationship,
so cute together.
because they grew together. I mean, there was conflict between them. And then all of a sudden, man, and it happens. I've seen it happen in person where somebody just fucking gets it one day. And it really made me angry that sometimes we had to go out and do hands-on training with people. And hands-on training is where you have to lay hands on somebody because they're fucking up. And you don't want them to fail because in the military, you can't fire people. That's why I joke with my cop friends. I said, you guys act not all of them. Most of my guys, buddies that are cops that are former prior service military, know better. But a lot of the guys that I know that are cops that want to militarize the police, I want that assault vehicle. We want to have these weapons. I'm like going, look, man. Now, Anima got to watch some videos with me. That training is like every fucking day. When you're a door kicker, you're training all the fucking time. Police officers don't do that. They don't have the skill training. We also go through training on how to be diplomatic with
also,
the locals.
Police officers probably don't train with live rounds.
No, they don't do the kind of training we do.
Because that was intense what you showed me. Wow.
Yeah, the training that we did live fire training. It's just you're trained to also, like, citizens. I get mad when I hear cops in particular refer to their local citizenry as shitizens. because they're part of the citizenry. They are part of that citizenry. They are duly authorized citizens. They're citizens. They're private citizens. And when a cop says that they're not, I said, you can quit your fucking job anytime you want, so you're a citizen. If you can quit your fucking job, if you have a union, you're a citizen. You're part of that populace. You're just legally, duly authorized to carry a weapon, use it in life or death situations where you feel yours or somebody else's life is threatened. You're allowed to pursue, detain, and arrest. But all of it has to be legal and above board, even though a lot, well, I know, not a lot. I would say that there's always 30% of something that's crap. Always. You get it in the military. That's why we have that term, blue, buddy fucker, blue falcon. So we all had to deal with these guys. And the only way to get rid of them in the military, because you can't fire them, well, the only way to deal with them is either beat the shit out of them until they fucking get it, or go AWOL. Or the other one, promote them the fuck out of your company. You promote them because every company has only so many slots for rank and MOS. And if you promote somebody that's a particular MOS, we found the quick way to get the fuck rid of them. A friend of mine in SWAT, the amount of training you get as a regular officer is pathetic. Your responsibility to continue, and it differs depending on where you're. Yeah, look, man, when I go to the range with some of my military buddies, we always poke fun at we can always spot a local police officer because they shoot for shit. I like it. And I've been impressed by cops that, and a lot of times their prior service, they're always at the fucking range. Always at the fucking range, practicing. A lot of them are there practicing draw and fire. Because it's something you got to get good at. Some officers just want to do their 8 hours, 9-hour shift and get the fuck home and fuck their wives and eat their dinner. And those guys, look, I hold nothing against them. Barney Fife had a function in the show. And some cops are there, and think that they're soldiers, but they're not. They're the first line of defense for the citizenry of that local residence. They are not the military. They're not part of the Department of Defense. You are not property. When you become a member of the military, you are property of the Department of Defense. They own you. And that's why I told you last night when they're in the plane, I said, you see,
they're cargo.
They're cargo. They are not passengers. There's no such thing as a passenger in a military vehicle of any kind.
That's so weird to see people as cargo.
Like if you're driving, your assistant, your driver number one, driver, passenger seat, that's assistant driver number 2. In the back seat, the one right directly behind the driver, that's assistant driver 3 or 2, then 3, and so on. And if you are in the back of a truck, you are cargo. If you are in a plane, you are cargo. If you're not part of the flight crew, you are cargo. And that's the reality of the military. And that's the big difference that a lot of law enforcement don't understand, that want to militarize the police. They don't have the training, the skill set. They don't know how to deal with their citizens the way we were trained to deal with citizens. You will always find every single soldier, when we're talking to citizens, we refer to them as ma'am or sir, because we are taught from day one that they outrank us.
That's another weird thing for me.
We are trained to treat citizens with the utmost respect. So, and it's something that's always bothered me with some cops I've run into that have that fucking attitude. And I get it. Look, man, when I was a paramedic, I quit being a paramedic for a reason, because I was afraid I was going to lose my humanity, my empathy, and when you do that, because you've been doing it too long, when you start looking at the people around you as citizens, you've been doing what you're doing too fucking long, and you need to fucking find another career. But some of these guys stick at it for a long time and they don't trust anybody. Everybody's a criminal. And I get it, that it's hairy out there. You don't know who the good guy is. I get that. But that doesn't mean you get to do that to everybody. And but I got to tell you, most of the cops I know, they're not like that. All my friends that are cops are good guys. They really are. I've got one friend that's kind of a dipshit sometimes. He's been in our chat. He's been in our chat a couple of times.
Really?
And he can say things every once in a while that just, I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? No, posse comitatus says you can't do that. There's a fucking federal law. It says, know your constitution. Before you fucking talk to somebody, you better know that constitution inside and out, those laws. If you don't fucking understand the Constitution and you're a police officer, you failed. You failed. You need to understand the Constitution. You know, constitutional law. And the thing with the military is every single soldier takes an oath, and that oath is for life. It is to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And we take that other one, the other word there, domestic, very seriously, because we know they're enemies of the Constitution in this country. We see it on the left every day. But I also see it with some of the overly religious right. They want to do things that just freak me out, you know. You got to pay attention, man. The freedom to religion is also the freedom to not religion. The freedom to religion means that it's any religion, even the fucking weird ones. Even the fucking weird ones that even I look at and go, you worship what? Really? This isn't a joke. Really? Yeah, they all have that fucking right, man. So SWAT really, my friend SWAT has told me a lot of stories about the warlike shit. No, they do. But there's something in my book, Vindicated Inc., and when it comes out, I want you to read it, Mr. Tickletron. Something I knew as a veteran about SWAT is that close to, I would say 40% to almost 50% of SWAT is not prior service. And if these SWAT guys, most of them aren't trained, even some that are prior service, weren't trained to take a flashbang. And I use that in the script because he's trying to figure out, he's been triangulated by 3 snipers on a rooftop. He's trapped. He's trying to figure out how the fuck to get away from him. And he uses that little bit of knowledge. And what he does is while they're scoping, he's laying down on the roof. You haven't seen it yet. You see, Anima saw the character get shot. I showed her the panels when he gets shot in the chest. And he's just laying there with this bullet in the chest plate. It's just stuck in there, embedded into the chest plate. And he's just laying there like, fuck am I doing here? But later you find out the bookend scene to that is he has to figure out how to get out of that situation. 3 snipers, triangulation. And he knows that he's blocked by a top of the roof doorway that leads you downstairs. It's a stairwell. And he's on the other side of it from one of the snipers. So he's got a blind spot that protects him. And the only one he's really concerned with is the one that has a direct bead on him. So he throws a fucking flashbang in the air towards that sniper. And the sniper is going to track what he throws. And he knew it. And he does. And when he does, the military SWAT commander, his prior service, goes, no, don't. Tries to warn him not to track whatever he threw because he knew what it was. It was a fucking flashbang. And it goes off and blinds the sniper. And he pops up with his 7-power ACOG and fucking drops this guy from across the rooftop. Just kills him. And as bad as it is, because these are cops, they are part of a unit that is involved. Not the whole unit is. It's several members, including these snipers, are all part of this corrupt team that are, they polluted the police department. So he would never kill a police officer who's doing their job. But this guy he knew who it was, the snipers. He knew all these guys, so he kills him. And I don't have any problem with it because he's a bad guy. And that's the word I was going to build up to, is that in the military, the psychological stuff you go through in your training, you have to perceive the enemy as the enemy. You have to perceive them as the bad guy. You're the good guy. And so modern military, in their near 100% kill ratio, stop and think about that. 30% of soldiers were effective in combat and killing in prior wars. Modern military is damn near 100% kill ratio. And they even, made a show about it. Callie, no, baby. She's mad. Look, I love you, but I'm going to give you a squirt in the ass. There you go. She jumped up and was going for my coffee. No shit.
Oh, that's a no.
So, get mad at me all you want.
Gerry, Max is asking, do you want her to jump on? She hasn't seen the show, though.
Yeah, you're welcome to join us. Send her an invite if you want. So, all I got to say is it's so important about modern military that they have this high kill ratio. And that's why I say the draft will introduce lower numbers of kill ratio. It will. That's the inevitability. But the one thing that's a positive about people serving by draft notice is that we'll stop doing backdoor drafts. And that's where you have these guys with multiple tours that shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have people doing multiple tours. That's because they don't have anybody. And they constantly go to the reserves and National Guard. That's the backdoor draft. And they'll activate units that are National Guard and Reserve. And I don't like that. I think that, it's okay. Because the way they do it is really bass-ackwards, where they'll activate a National Guard or Reserve unit to go deploy, and the active duty soldiers are usually sent to Europe, which is weird, or to other theaters. And so you'll find a very large number of Reserve and National Guard that are serving in actual combat situations that have been activated. And so I always find it weird that they do that. I don't like the backdoor draft. I think that's not an effective way of doing things. But there's something that does work really well. But dehumanizing the enemy, yeah, you're correct on that. God damn it. Combatants is something people not in the military usually don't get here, which is what we do. If you are serving in the military, it doesn't matter if you're in Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand. These are all countries that have fought alongside us many times. I met a lot of French Foreign Legion when I was in Saudi. Hi. And in fact, I got into a fight with, not a physical fight, but an argument with a buddy of mine. It was French Foreign Legion, because he said he invented cock pilot. I said, no. I said it before you did. He says, no, you said USDA prime choice cock pilot before I did. I said cock pilot before you. So it's been a fight we've had for years, like 30 years. And because I called a guy, I said, wow, you are really USDA prime choice fucking cock pilot, aren't you? And it's not a polite thing to call somebody. It means that they like to handle dick. Joystick, dick. So anyway, whew, tough audience. Anyway,
we're just letting you roll.
Yeah.
No, Dragon Bricks. You were late to the show. I said you guys would start it because I said something and I said, oh, I can hardly wait till you guys start turning that into backdoor, Gerry. So anyway, that was like in the first 5 minutes. So no, you weren't here, Dragon Bricks. You missed that. You weren't here when you were supposed to be. Okay, no cat hair in it. I'm good. So, anybody else pop in? Who else popped in? Let's see. Peter Vickman Fanside is here. Good to see you. So God, SEAL Team 6. I mean, SEAL Team is this show that was great that somehow became greater thanks to moving to Paramount. They can now say fuck, and then on top of that, if they wanted to, they could have sex scenes, but they don't. I like it that they don't.
Thankfully, yes, they hint and then they cut and move on.
I get
because
it.
You don't need to see that.
Well, if you're doing a show like American Gigolo, okay, I just watched it last night. I watched 2 episodes while I was in bed before I fell asleep, and I'm like, yeah, sex is part of the story. It really is. Sex is a power part of the story. Who controls who through sex, blah, blah, blah. I get that. It's a neo-noir thriller that was made in the 80s called American Gigolo with that guy that likes, Sylvester Stallone created that whole thing about him liking gerbils in his butt. Richard Gere. But the new series has The Punisher as the same character, and it's an 8-part miniseries. And I'm hoping it's just a one-time, because this is a story that doesn't need to go on. But we'll see. They've wanted to readapt the film and they made it a little different, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because by doing what they did, they create a huge fucking logic issue. Huge. And it's one that every single person should immediately go, wait a minute. It shouldn't just be the smartest person in the room figuring this out. The dumbest person in the room should notice that if you are put in prison, if you're put in prison for a crime, and then after 15 fucking years of serving that sentence, you're exonerated of having committed that crime, what's going to happen? 2 things. You guys want to say what it is? There are 2 things that are going to happen.
It's all yours.
What? Magitech, nobody wants to take it. Okay, nobody's going to take it.
I'm sorry, what? I was responding to something.
Okay, I said, if somebody is put in prison for a crime for 15 years, and then after 15 years, it was a 25-year sentence, that after 15 years, they're exonerated for having committed the crime, 2 things are going to occur. Two major things.
Does it depend on the severity of the crime itself, though?
Doesn't matter if they're exonerated of it, and they just spent 15 fucking years of their life in prison for a crime they clearly didn't commit.
Okay,
2 things are going to happen immediately.
Revenge?
No.
No?
You're 1, release. 2, they're going to get paid about $1 million a year for every year they served.
Wow.
But this character walks out with no money.
I didn't even know that. I've never
That's
known.
the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen.
Huh.
No, that's a crime.
Yeah.
To hold somebody that way. And so the state has to make restitution.
Wouldn't somebody have to be held accountable for those types of mistakes at that point? I mean, especially
if you're talking malfeasance, and malfeasance can come into play, but that's a third thing that could happen. It's not always what really happened. There could have been just enough evidence, circumstantial evidence to find this guy. And it was circumstantial. He had blood all over him. He was with the victim. When they were killed, he was covered in their fresh splatter of blood from their throat being slit. He was drunk and passed out. Woke up to find this girl dead, covered in her blood, freaks out. They arrest him. They put him in prison. Clearly, he says, I don't remember, because he was passed out. But that's no excuse. And I hate Rosie O'Donnell. She plays the detective. She's she's terrible.
Oh.
She's terrible in this role.
Oh, that's already ruined it.
Barenthal is watchable. Rosie O'Donnell, she cannot act. She can't act with this shit. I can't make up my mind, when I'm watching her, I'm like, is that an effeminate dude, fat dude, or is that Rosie O'Donnell? And then I'm like, oh, it is Rosie O'Donnell. I just looked in the credits. Yes, that's Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, and she can't act. She cannot act. And she is a major character in it. But Barenthal is pretty good, but the logic lost me immediately. I cannot believe this show because the suspension of disbelief is required in watching shows like that. And if you see something major like that, where if you've been in prison for 15 years for a crime you didn't commit, you're getting paid $1 million a year for every year. And so immediately the reality was broken. Suspension of disbelief was broken. Didn't work anymore. But I still tried to watch it, and I found Barenthal's character interesting. I know where they're going with the story because they do a twist compared to the original movie, which is him trying to find out who really killed this girl and what he's going to do. And when he finds the actual killer, this movie's old enough, so I don't mind. Fuck you if you haven't seen it. Not my problem. He finds the killer, and he gets so angry and in a rage, he pushes him off the roof of a skyscraper there in L.A. Last second, he realizes, oh my God, this is the proof that I didn't kill this person. Tries to save the guy. Regrets doing it immediately. Tries to save the guy, and the guy falls to his death. So now he is fully implicated as the killer, now has actually killed the person who committed the crime. But he's, to the police, the second murder. But the woman, his love interest, was married with child and was part of the reason why things happened. Not her fault. It was because of her, but not her fault. She comes forward, and costing her marriage, she is his alibi. Hence the line in the song, "I'll be your alibi, call me," by Blondie, which is the theme song for the movie. It was written for the movie, if you didn't know that. And I got to tell you, for a neo-noir film, it was, I think Body Heat was better, but I really do like American Gigolo. It's a good film. Not great. It's good. It's good. So, all right. So let's get into episode 1, which is our season begins immediately, seconds after the season finale from last year. And that is with Bravo team ambushed in Afghanistan. They are, everybody's wounded.
15 minutes of combat straight.
Yeah, this episode has, I had to, when I watched it the first time, when I'm watching combat, I have to pause every once in a while to calm myself down because I get emotional. And but also I got really emotional because he starts doing something to himself, because Thero's character, he starts trying to medic treat himself, and he's doing it wrong. And he he tries to put antiseptic on a compound fracture. Now, a lot of people don't know, they finally changed it, because a compound fracture is almost always open because bone's sticking out. Mm-hmm. That's where it's a complete full fracture, where it's separated from each other. That's compound. So it tends to break the skin. But now they've separated, because the argument was made in the medical community that not everyone breaks the skin. Sometimes it's just deformation of the skin. Mm-hmm. So he has a open compound fracture caused by almost a direct hit of an RPG on the team. And his leg is hanging on by meat and leg, and they don't fucking hide it. It is a gory fucking injury. And he's trying to treat it himself. He's high on morphine already, not to mention fucked up from blood loss. And they are trapped between 2 overturned vehicles, and the enemy have the high ground. And it is a bad situation. It is what they refer to as Custer situation, Little Bighorn, where you are surrounded on all sides by enemy, and they're trying to come in at different angles to get around the vehicles to kill them. And so Bravo leader has to, that's of course David Boreanaz, Hayes goes up there and he's wounded. He's got breacher syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look it up. They're all PTSD at this point.
They are.
But
his head is fucked up anyway.
PTSD doesn't mean broken, but it means that you've seen a lot of shit. And he's got PTSD on top of concussions, brain trauma, TBI, on top of
brain injury.
Yeah, the TBI, and he's developed breacher syndrome, which is dangerous. And but he's their fucking leader, man, and he won't, back down. And because of that, Max Thero's character Clay, he goes into battle with him because he's worried about it. He wouldn't be there. He just had a baby born. He should have been with that baby and his wife, but instead he wants to protect his leader, and so he gets the worst of it. Of course, that's called irony. That's a good use of irony, and then Ray's there, like everybody's fucking there, man. And AJ Buckley plays the part of Sonny. I fucking love Sonny. Hey boy, what are you talking about? That's my battle boo.
Yeah, they're great together.
AJ is absolutely my favorite actor on the show. Sonny is my favorite character because he reminds me of so many fucking dudes I served with, rednecks that were just fucking amazing soldiers. And so it's 15 minutes of intense fucking close quarter combat. Everything is within 50 yards. They can see the faces of their enemies as they're shooting at them and killing them and being shot at by them. And like I said, the first seconds, they're all unconscious and coming to bullets are zipping and hitting around them. And I'm sure some hit them while they're laying there because everybody got wounded in this fight. They get up and they're fighting, and Clay is fucking down for the count with that fucking leg injury, and his leg is practically amputated, and it's just clinging on by meat and skin. And they're fighting for their lives at this point. This isn't trying to beat an enemy. They are literally fighting to survive, and they don't have any rescue coming. And this causes conflict at the TOC, the Tactical Operations Center, and because they're trying to get someone to go in there. And originally they were given a 10-minute window, 10 mics. And because I had to explain some of that stuff. She hears these things like clicks, mics. I have to explain what they mean. And finally, like I said, Jason Hayes is, he starts going up the hill, man. He's traumatized, ringing ears, tinnitus, everything. He's fucking limping because he's wounded. And he's like working his way around, and he's trying to flank these guys. And he finally just makes his way all the way around this little mountain, comes up on him and just starts fucking dropping them left and right. Because they didn't expect anybody to come around that side. And he's just dropping these guys. And he works his way around. He kills all the guys on this one ridge line, but there's still guys on the other ridge line. And then on top of that, they got new vehicles coming in. So he tries dealing with those.
They're so outnumbered, yeah.
They are. They're really. This is absolutely. This is the 7th Cav at Little Bighorn, and he starts using their weapons against them. Because he's out of it. Oh, he gets a breach override. I think that's what it was. You only get to see it for a split second, but his weapon is non-functional. So he throws it around on his strap and grabs an AK and just starts dropping these fuckers and just keeps going. And then he gets to that hilltop, the very one that overlooks those vehicles coming in, and he stops them with an RPG, but he's now doesn't have anything left. And so he calls in, and they have one single Hellfire missile left, and they put it right between both vehicles and kill all those guys. And when he used the RPG, some of the guys that were on the other ridgeline came down there trying to ambush him around the side of their vehicles, and he killed him with the RPG. And you get to see it, and the beauty of the effects in this, because you get to watch the RPG fly from him all the way down to the explosion. It's beautifully done. It was just, and even Anima, who is not
oddly satisfying, and I shocked myself saying
she's
that.
like, Oh, that was really satisfying to see that.
No, we said at the same moment, wow, that was beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
What did I just say? But it was. It had something oddly satisfying.
It's true, Mr. Chocolate, not today. Just between Gerry as his own control. It's true. Hello, how are you? Anyway, so through the rest of the episode, it's a fight for life at this point because Clay is down for the count.
And he's trying to fix his leg, and I
I
couldn't look away when he sticks his fingers in to try to
well,
realign
that
his
was
bones.
that didn't bother me.
But I couldn't
What
look
bothered
away.
me was why he did it, and it was driving me crazy. Like, you're making it worse. Your hand is covered in filth, and you just dug it into your wound.
Yeah.
So I was just so fucking frustrated by the medical part of it. What he was doing in the field, trying to do a field dressing on his own fucking leg.
But
And
he's not a medic, though, so
no, he's
doing
not.
the best he can.
And the bad thing is his medical pack had an antibiotic, and if he had taken that, that might have helped him.
Yeah, but he left it. He couldn't get to it.
Well, he lost it. It
He
got
lost it,
separated from him in the explosion.
They couldn't get to it.
And finally, by the time they get it to him, he's so pumped full of morphine that I knew he wasn't going to hold anything down. But it's a great scene where finally the battle's over. Chopper's coming in to fucking finally pick him up, and they joke. They even said it's like cavalry here, 10 minutes too late. And they won the day. Thanks to that Hellfire missile, because that Hellfire missile really did save him. And
I really loved when what's his name, David Boreanaz, his character, when he did that laser thing. So they have a target. That was cool.
Because I've complained about the new Jurassic World movie, going that clearly they don't understand how laser targeting works. That it's a constant paint. You don't just like go big, flick a light on it, and then the plane up above goes, "We got your signature. We will." Oh wait, they can't target something without the laser. The laser has to be on it constantly. They're targeting not the object, they're targeting the laser. And that movie is so fucking stupid with its science. Worst science fiction movie ever, though it's got great dinosaur scenes in it. I love the effects. Dumb as the day is long. The greatest moments in that film is when we're dealing with the original cast. That was the fun part of the movie for me. But anyway, so he did a circle paint because they needed to hit between them. So what he did is he made a circle with the laser.
It was like 2 or 3 vehicles,
They tracked that aim dead center of that circle that he was making, and it killed everybody. It was a great fucking moment. Because if you guys don't know what a Hellfire missile looks like, you're kind of scary looking. They got these rocket fins that are actually blades. They're blades designed with a specific purpose. And it's a nasty little missile. But anyway, so as Hayes walks up to Clay, and he finds one of the antibiotic pills, and Clay's like, he's so high. He's like, man, I'm so hungry.
He's talking about burgers and fries.
So hungry, man. I could really have a Big Mac right now. He actually says Big Mac. Really want a Big Mac right now. And I'm like, the last thing you need to do is try to eat food because you're going to fucking throw up. And of course, what does he do? He fucking throws up, and he throws up the antibiotic. They can't keep it down. So they get airlifted out, and we see him back in the plane once again, cargo in this C-17 Stratocarrier. And I think it's one of the most amazing. I got to see one. I never got to be in one. I always wanted to be in one, but they were really in training when I was getting out. I was always in this C-130 is how I flew. And it's called a hop. Even if you still have your card, if you're a card carrying veteran, you can actually go to any fucking airbase and catch a hop. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I've done it. It's a lot of fun. The coolest part of it is I'm not afraid of flying when I hate commercial airlines. They make me nervous because I don't trust civilian pilots. I trust military pilots. And I also trust the ground crews that work on the planes better than I trust the ground crews that work on commercial airlines because they're fucking idiots.
Plus,
But,
they're uncomfortable, and I'm saying this is a tiny person.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're in the C-17 flying back home, and they're really worried about their buddy, and they're all wounded. Everybody's wounded at this fucking. I think that's the Bagram Air Base. I think is what it's called there. I've been there. When you're deployed, you always stop there. That's one of your layovers. Is that air base, and so they're there at the base aid station hospital. And God, man, everybody's fucking wounded, man. And it's the same fucking doctor who cornered, Jason the previous season over his breacher syndrome. So he's confronting him, and Jason's just getting fucking annoyed with him.
Well, he tries to avoid him, but then he's in his room getting his dressing changed, and the doctor just walks in and he can't run away.
Hey, I remember you. You had breacher syndrome. Yeah. Have you been doing anything about that? Yeah, I've been dealing with it. I'm handling it. I'm on it. And of course, Sonny is fucking freaked out. His best friend, he won't go home. He's got a newborn. He's got a baby. He won't go home. He's not leaving Clay's side. That's his battle boo. Best friend.
And it's not just Clay's leg, because he has internal injuries too.
Well, that's the problem. They're trying to save that leg.
His spleen is all fucked up.
And it's not just the internal injuries. What's going on is he was left undressed. His wound was left undressed and untreated and unclean for too long. And that causes problems. And he is starting to become septic. And the threat is sepsis. And you keep hearing it. It's like twice you hear somebody say it in the background. And the wife, of course, modern. This is modern. So you're a mobile phone call away. So she's FaceTiming, and she sees him, how bad off he is. He's fucked. And I showed Anima pages from my chapter of God judges you by your his heroes by their scars. Mm-hmm. And the first scene in my graphic novel Vindicated shows him in that bed with one leg. And that's what we're building towards, is that by the end of the episode, man, it's very emotional watching it, because you're seeing a character you spent years growing to love. You hate him at first, but then you realize, oh man, Clay was a pain in the ass. He was that typical.
I really have to go back.
He is a woke knucklehead. He is a knucklehead when he joins him, but he's got heart, and you see it. Mm. And so
what's really messed up is when they're FaceTiming, he's pretending, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
I'm fine. But then he starts
an hour later, he goes into septic shock, and
he goes into shock
because he hears what they're saying on the phone.
Yep, and
she's completely freaking out.
And so, because she's on the phone with Sonny, and Sonny, yeah, he's okay, he's doing and then all of a sudden he's coded. His heart stopped. He was
that
dead.
was VFib, I think, not a flatline.
Was he in VFib?
No, it was the VFib beeping. It wasn't a flatline.
Oh, so I thought they said he had coded. So anyway, so he is still he's dying either way it goes, and so they're rushing him out, taking him into emergency surgery, and he's left there.
Up the word septic
he's
shock.
Like yelling, "Sonny, what's going on?" And he's like losing his fucking mind. Like, I was just here seconds ago. You were still like conscious. And I know what that's like, man. I know what that's like. I've watched somebody that's looked like they were doing well, and they're fucking dead.
That goes fast.
And it happened with my brother, Michael, But I've seen, as a paramedic, man, as a medic, I've seen them just go quick. And it's freaky. It's freaky. And so he's being rushed out, and you're left as they go to what would be a commercial break if it was on commercial TV. They're fade out, and then we cut back, and basically, you're dealing with a lot of these things because, like, they mishandled one moment. I forgot to talk about this when Lisa, who is part of the Tactical Operations Center, she's their intel officer for the unit. and her what is his name? Eric.
Oh yeah,
the senior officer at the talk. He's actually second. He's second senior officer. The Marine. He's the new guy. What the fuck is his name? Shit, I forget his name. Anyway, they have a new officer that started last season, he's kind of a hard ass, and Lisa has a problem with him, but they seem to be getting along okay this season. They determined that because this is so close to home, that instead of sending somebody to her house to let her know that he's been wounded, Lisa goes personally to deliver the message, because this is family. Right. But then she shows up at the fucking house, standing there not saying anything when she shows up at the door. And I'm like, why the fuck would you do that?
That was fucked up, because of course she thinks he's dead.
I thought that was bad
and that's
writing.
not the message. Yeah,
that's bad writing. Nobody would fucking do that.
No.
They would absolutely go, hey, I'm here to tell you he's okay, but he's not out of the woods. He's been wounded. That's how that conversation would have started.
Yeah.
In real life, that's how it would have started. She would have immediately said, he's alive, but he has been wounded.
Just stand there
and he's not out of the woods. Yeah, that was so fucking stupid. I'm like, oh, we got to get the drama in there. Be realistic with your drama. That was when it irritated me. You even caught a couple where they threw drama in that wasn't necessary. And yeah, your cats are insane. Amelia's losing. She got that wild cat hair up her ass. Yeah. So,
Rocket Kitty.
So we get this, that moment, and then later she's on the phone right when things are happening with him, and she's calling out to Sonny, and Sonny can't even talk. And the next time we see him, he's crying. Something's happened, and they're all together waiting to find out what's going on. And
because he's in surgery for ages.
Jason tells Sonny, he says, do not call the house. Call me first if it's bad news. And he's outside with his, now finally, after years of flirting and even doing it at one point, they broke down. They were both stressed, and they just needed to let off something, have a nut. Mm-hmm. And so Mandy, the former CIA operative that worked with them, she's his current girlfriend. And they're out on the porch having a very serious talk about his breacher syndrome, all the stuff he's doing. And then the phone call comes. She says, why is Sonny calling you? And the reason is he's only going to call if it's bad news. And so he walks in the house and he delivers the news that he made it out of surgery and he's stable. But. And then the wife is like, what aren't you telling me? Stella, his wife, Clay's wife. And then it cuts back to Sonny crying, and you see Thero there in the bed, just like in my comic, exactly same angle with that
same leg too.
Exact same leg as in my comic book. I think that's weird. Yeah. Guy laying in that bed with his fucking leg gone. And when he finally comes to, he hears the doctors talking or saying something about amputation. He goes, oh, my leg's fine.
And he thinks they're joking.
He says, yeah, stop fucking around, guys. I can feel it. I can still feel it. And then he wakes up and he looks down and he sees his leg is gone. And really, that is, pretty much the end of episode 1. And then we move to episode 2. Now, episode 2 it's a transitional episode.
Time jump, 3 months.
We got to move quickly over a period of time. But I think they made some mistakes by doing that, because they have him dealing with something that in the length of time that they're talking about, he would not be dealing with it as much. He'd still be dealing with phantom limb pain. No question about it. But
you're talking about the trying to stand on his own?
The trying to stand on the prosthetic, because I've worked with a lot of dramatic. I've worked with amputees, and they actually get over a little that balance thing a lot quicker than what they show in the series. That's for dramatic purposes. I get it. It's a bit stupid because they're trying to show. I don't think it's stupid. I just think it's overdone.
It's
just overdone. But they're trying to make a point. that his goal is to be able to stand up for so long. The thing is, though, this is a below the knee amputation, not an above the knee amputation. And really, they needed to explain why he's having that trouble. And it's because his knee is trying to remember how to work. And they weren't explaining that in the episode, that because he was able to, he has up to 3 inches below the knee. So he has part of his tib fib still intact. So
that's the 2 bones in the lower leg.
Yeah, the lower leg. So they're still there, but they do have to do surgery to change things, how that works, in order for the knee to work. And it alters how the knee works. So they don't even explain that. And that's really what they should have explained. They should have taken some time to explain, look, the way that your leg is now, in order for you to be able to use it, we've had to alter those bones, because you can't just be putting all your weight on your bones. And they have to they never explain that. I think they should have, because that helps the audience empathize better with the character when they know exactly physically what they're going through. So, but they do show the process, and he's trying to learn how to stand up on this thing. And that's really this whole episode, is him trying to stand and him trying to deal with the depression that goes with it. And they go through it rather quickly, because they have an hour to go through all this stuff, plus the story of what's going on with the other characters, because Ray has been dealing with PTSD for a while. It fucked him up and damn near cost people their lives when he locked up during an assault. And but he's still on the team. They've got a new threat now. Bureaucracy is trying to, and it's actually, this is going on in real life, that they're trying to dissolve how our tier 1 operators, it's not just the Navy, it's how all of our tier 1 operators work, that rather than having individual teams, they're going to break it down to where it's just one big group, and they pick and choose who's going to be on that team if they go out to do something. They want to change how we fight war. And I think it's a huge mistake, because our spearheads, our tier 1 operators, function because of the fact that they're so close knit. And that when you do some of that stuff, you lead to that situation they had a few years back, where you had a senior Navy SEAL who was being fucked with 2 of the new guys, and they Me Too'd him, not for sexual misconduct, but for other stuff. And they tried to ruin his career because they were woke, and they didn't like the way he did things. He was a bully to them. He bullied death. And yeah, it's in the fucking Navy SEALs. This is all over the military right now. We do not have a functional military right now. We're in trouble if something happens. Right now, we're in trouble. Our military is just all fucked up. They're too focused on identity politics, and it's down to the individual platoons. It's fucked up. It started in the 90s. We saw it when I was coming, and we're like, holy shit, this needs to be stopped. Nope, that ball's rolling, buddy. You got people with agendas, and they want to fuck everything up.
It was a slippery slope back then.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Joe. Good seeing you, buddy. Dadman Walking is here too. Hey, Dadman. Who else is here? Did I miss anybody else? Infomedia Live is here. Zach's, hi. What's up, buddy?
Peter Rankman fansite.
Yeah, I did say hi to them. I caught them earlier when you put them in. I can see that from their recruitment video. Yeah, I've seen the. I don't even want to get into it. I'm not getting into it. Because that's a fucking rabbit hole. That is a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I will get into it. Don and I talk about this shit. Don Ecker, we talk about this shit all the time. Modern military problems. So anyway, Clay's character, the actor's name is Max. Clay is dealing with his shit this episode. Ray and his wife, what is her name? Nema is his wife's name. Nema and he are trying to open a PTSD center. This is for soldiers. It's a privately run by veterans for veterans group to help people dealing with PTSD. But he is so stressed out all the time. And finally, she's nervous. She's apprehensive about quitting her job to help run this thing with him.
Don is here.
Yes.
Don Ecker.
Yes.
Airborne. Ura. Or as we say, Ura is one and Ua, Marines, Army have two different ways of saying the same thing. It's just like, Don will know this one too. Marines, they have the most fucked up cadences. Like, I made fun of one of our drill sergeants, Merititi. We just called him we called him Drill Sergeant Titty. And I made fun of him one day when I called cadence. I said, "This one's for your Drill Sergeant Merititi." And I did Marine cadence for him. I-ole, He fucking laughed. Anyway, good to see you, Don. I was just talking about you because we could go ad nauseum talking about how fucked up the military is today. But
that's why he showed up. He's like Beetlejuice. Say his name.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. There's Don Ecker.
That's good.
I said Don Ecker's name 3 times and he shows up. But so Ray is fucking terrified because now he's a warrant officer and he has so many limitations of what he can do. And he wants to stay with Bravo team. But the problem is there's a threat from bureaucrats in the military, as well as bureaucrats outside the military, that want to do away with some of the teams. And in reality, this is really happening. And I think it's interesting that they're putting it into the show. And I love the fact that Jason in particular and his team, man, they talk about bad guys all the time. And this is something I was trying to explain to Enema, is that is how we psychologically train ourselves when we're dealing with the enemy, is we refer to them as bad guys. That way there's no guilt when you have to waste them, and it is. And Don, one of the things I was talking about earlier about when I brought your name up is I agree with there being a system where people have to serve, but I don't think they have to serve the military, because I want people in the military that are going to do what we do today. The problem is we have so few when there's conflict going on that are joining. The numbers drop drastically. So, but the one thing that modern military, since the draft was shut down, can say that none of the generations before is we have damn near 100% kill ratio. That's where we have soldiers that when they fire actually shoot at the target, because it was down like 30% to even lower in some places. I remember one being down to 13%, that people would shoot away from people or over them because they didn't want to shoot another human being. And so modern military has a damn near 100% ratio of kill. And that's the name of the miniseries, by the way, is Generation Kill. And it talks about it in the book, that this generation of soldiers today, Marine, Army, grunts, these guys fucking kill. And there's a psychological thing that helps with that, as we refer, and I was trying to think that way, these are bad guys. We call them bad guys. We don't call them tangos. We don't call them any other name other than bad guy. Almost everybody calls them. Now, there's a lot of defamatory names that they'll use. Hodge, because the military trains to the last war it fought. So we're trained to deal with Middle East right now. When I was trained to deal with Vietnam. And then, of course, we went to the desert going, this isn't a jungle. This is awful. What the fuck is a sand flea? Why are they so big? They're mutants. But and there are sand fleas, and they're not very nice. Now, when I was deployed, I wasn't deployed in active service there I was in what's referred to as temporary duty, and I was sent to Riyadh. And the only thing I got to do is I got to see the rape rooms. And those were where Saddam's elite soldiers took women, children, female, male, and would rape them. And it was gory. And there's like, it's just you have to be there. I can't explain it to you. Fluids dried on the floor, walls. This is fucking horrible. So anyway,
should we talk about the op they're doing in season 2, in episode 2?
Well, I'll get in. I'll get into
because that's so
because
cool.
This is they try to put a little bit of action in every episode because look, it's a military show. And we need to see them. It's like, I think it's a mistake they made with the unit. They got too focused on what was going on back home and not enough on the team. And that's where SEAL Team is better than the series, The Unit. Even though I like The Unit, I did enjoy that show. This is a better show than The Unit. I've got a story about a fucking, yeah, that's for another day, the camel spider story. Because I'm terrified of spiders, man. Terrified of them, man. Right now, I've got to deal with the fact that there's a spindly spider right outside the bathroom window that I got to look at every day. And it's like sitting there going, every morning I walk in there and I look up, there it is. And it's like, it's waving in the wind going, hey, morning.
Well, as long as it's outside, it's okay.
Is he staring into your soul, Gerry?
Kind of. All 8 eyes. Now I got to tell you, recluses have 6 eyes. That's what makes them such a variant of the spider.
Can we please not do spiders?
Yeah, but
I'm on,
look,
please.
Fuck, Jesus Christ, I've got arachnophobia. Fuck, I can talk about it. God damn,
I hate spiders. It's okay.
Baby, I love you. You got to get some balls.
Spiders deserve the hairspray and flamethrower treatment.
Amen. I learned
spiders and snakes.
I learned it. I'm going to tell you who taught me that. He was on the show this last weekend. Michael Beatty was the one that taught me how to make a hairspray flamethrower. That was Michael Beatty. Because he was always about, let's blow it up. That was his thing. That was Mike's catchphrase in high school. I'm shitting you not. His catchphrase in high school, ooh, let's blow it up. And I'm like, no.
Yikes.
So everything builds to the fact that everybody's afraid that Bravo team is over. And, some of them think, well, what if we go have a mission and everything goes really well? It'll make us look good. And Jason knows that it really may not. He's aware of the fact that this may not work. But they have to go on a field mission. And so everybody gets up to go except for Clay. And you see that look on his face when his battle boo is going to go without him. And he's all, stiff upper lip with him. Oh, man, stiff upper lip, mate.
Yeah.
He's like that with him. But the minute he walks out that door, you can see that look on his face that he doesn't like it. His battle boo is going without him. And he doesn't like it. He likes being there with him. He wanted to be there with Jason because he cares about Jason, and look what it cost him. But he says something that I believe is going to happen because it's in my book. It does it in Vindicated is he eventually becomes so adept on his prosthesis. He has 2 legs that he uses, one for walking and doing soldier shit, and the other one he uses for running, like when he's doing track. And it's one of those curved ones you've seen, like
the blades.
What's his name? The Blade Runner that was said to have murdered his girlfriend in the Olympics.
Oh,
he ran on those. And so he's already saying, look, man, it's been done before. And I showed you the video of the first guy.
That guy's impressive. That
was in a tier 1 team. Now, it's not the first time Navy has had a prosthesis. The first time that
he's above the knee.
They made a movie about it with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Robert De Niro. He wasn't, I don't think he was UDT. He might have been UDT. I think he was UDT. So he would have been technically a Navy SEAL. But he was a deep sea diver. And he had a prosthetic leg and he was able to still dive, proved that he could still do his job as a diver, and got to keep and retire from the military properly without being medically discharged. And what this guy I showed you the video of, he was the first modern soldier to get a prosthesis that allowed him to rejoin his airborne unit.
Yeah, man, he's impressive.
Not only that, he even qualified at higher levels of airborne and became one of the knights. Fucking dude was badass, man. Combat effective. And so that's the guy he's talking about. When he refers to that, Clay's character says, he did it, I can do it. And that's what his goal is. And by the end of the episode, he's able to stand up for 2 full minutes. I think they should have showed less time going by for that to have been more believable. But still, I get what they were going for, and I dug it. And it's really emotional, because I get emotional. I think Anima has already caught I'll stop talking when I get emotional. I just stop talking. I've done it on the show. If I start talking about something, I just like dead stop. I get control, and then I come back. Because when I talk about these kinds of subjects, I get very fucking caught up in it. Because that was my life. And seeing these and I like that in the show, they don't act like so many people think that they would act, Tier 1 operators act like. They're still fucking regular soldiers to them. The operators, they refer to themselves as operators. That's true. What the fuck is he talking about? Gina Davis's role in Battle Boo?
Yeah, it's a rolling joke that he has from some time now.
Thank you, Real Wade. Well, Keith and I, we give a lot. We put a lot of ourselves into our shows, and so when we're out there, we're not just playing fuck around. Even when we're talking about these shows, we're talking about stuff that involves serious subjects, and a lot of them get too focused on the entertainment thing. And even though I love talking entertainment, like even talking about the show, technically I'm talking entertainment. I'm talking about it from a military perspective, as a veteran.
And I think that's a good perspective to have too, because you actually have the experience and you can talk from that experience.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of veterans love this show, because even though these are Tier 1 operators, which is what I was really starting to say a minute ago, is that they portray these characters as just your regular fucking grunts. They're grunts, and if you're a boot on the ground, I don't give a fuck if you're Navy, Air Force, Army. Because look, Air Force, unless you're like Tier 1 operator, Air Force Special Forces, you're a civilian in that uniform. I really don't respect the Air Force as much as I do other branches. But I got to tell you, things have changed since Afghanistan and Iraq for them, which led to that meme. I've shown it here on here before, where you have these two Air Force, one's a TAC sergeant and the other one's, I forget what their lower rank is in Air Force. But they're holding a map, and the black dude is looking at the other dude like, what? And the other guy who's got the pencil in his hand is just looking off in the distance, looking really not happy. And I wrote on there the perfect response to that. It says, what do you mean you don't know how to do an 8-digit grid coordinate? And the guy goes, it's not my fault. We're Air Force. Military only get that joke. I say that to you guys, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it's an actual truth. It's an actual fact that the only branch in the military that doesn't know how to do an 8-digit grid coordinate, which is required to call in a fire mission. You have to be able to do a back azimuth. You need to know how to do a fucking 8-digit grid coordinate. 8 digits on a map, grid, on the map. You got to be able to do all 8 digits to call in a fire mission or fire support or air support. And Air Force was never trained to do that until the current war. And so even my son, who is in Air Force, laughed at that when I made that meme. He goes, yeah, it's true. A lot of them don't know how to do it in Air Force. But they're finally being trained now to do it in the Air Force. And that's your general Air Force. I don't know what to call them. They're not soldiers. Navy's not soldiers until they're boots on the ground. The minute you become a boot on the ground, we'll refer to you, you're either doing soldiering or you're a grunt. Because if you're on the ground, you're a grunt. And that's what they show in the show, is that they're grunts. They have that general grunt attitude. So other military vets watch this show because they can identify with it. You know, they refer to themselves as door kickers. I love that. You know, door kickers, man. I was a door kicker in my infantry unit. Then I switched to medical unit because I'd had my fill of that. I wanted to be in a unit where I was, one, close to my military wife, and two, in a unit where I could do the most good. What is that, Gary? I experienced an Air Force Major General checking IDs at the base gate. That's funny. But I got to tell you, you know, if there's a base that needs to be locked down more than any of them, is Air Force, because there's so much fucking equipment. My unit, my reserve unit in California, we were at McClellan Air Force Base. We were right next to the tarmac, and we would PCMS our vehicles on the tarmac most of the time. PMCSing, of course, your primary maintenance on a vehicle. And just rename the show Cat Culture Minefield. Okay.
I'm sorry, Amelia is stealing the show. There's nothing I can do. She goes crazy like that.
So now we get to the point that Anima wanted to get to, which is they are deployed for an operation, and they have to go to a location that is really not far from where Anima lives.
Yeah, they showed it on the map, and I was like,
Anima
whoa, that's awfully close.
On the map. On the map where Anima is on the fucking map.
Yeah, that's somewhere like off the coast from Turkey, and I'm in Croatia, and that's really not that far apart. So
they have to find out that some of the people involved in the ambush on them are connected here, and that there may be a weapon stash and maybe even a command center. So they go in and they infiltrate the building, and it's a real quick thing. They go in, great breach.
The way they go in, though, underwater,
I told you
so
before they
cool.
did it. I said, you always watch the two back guys. Watch what they do. They always immediately do a right turn or a left turn, depending on the shape of the building. And they'll do an immediate weapon. They still don't do it. I got to tell you, Terminalist is the single best CQB turns I've ever seen by an actor. Absolutely the best fucking right turn, left turn with a weapon. And also they show in Terminalist how to adjust your shoulder to another shoulder if you have to go up a stairwell that goes one way. That's opposite of what your normal arm is. You're taught to shoot ambidextrous in the military.
Yeah.
And they showed it. That's the first time I've ever seen it. They don't show it even on SEAL Team. But that is something that Navy SEALs are trained to do, is alternate weapon, shoulder to shoulder.
I saw that on the documentary.
Yeah, it's really good stuff to know how to do that shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they do a really good job. They breach this building, and you know, there's a little bit of the Call of Duty thing that people get used to, but the fact is that's how they move in. When you go in a room, anybody that's in that room, unless it is a fucking child, you fucking drop it. And there's no hesitation. You just walk in and boom, they see bad guys, they just drop them immediately. And I like that they don't show the when they get shot thing in this show, the absolute realistic. A human being, when they're hit with a bullet, it's just like those little push button puppets where Goofy, Mickey Mouse, and all those that came out back in the 70s. Yeah, they just go down. You push that button and the string lets loose and their body goes slack. That's what happens to the human body, because it's a major shock to the system to be hit with a bullet. And so they do a great job. They infiltrate this place. They find a bunch of shit, but they find out even with their suppressed weapons, suppressed doesn't mean silent. It just means quieter. The mechanics of the weapon makes a sound. So there's always going to be a sound. And apparently somebody heard it, called it into the local police, and they get a warning. They're 10 mics out, which is 10 minutes. So they're quickly basically setting this place up to blow up. And they exfil out. They take their little ladder that they climbed up with. It was really cool fucking
because
scene.
They go in underwater, and those scenes are so cool.
They had to go in underwater because it's they can't be seen there. They can't be seen there. That could cause a problem. But that's what Tier 1 operators are for, is doing shit like that. They go into places with even friendly nations to do things. And it's like, look, this needs to be done. We know they have this thing there, and we got to go deal with it. We don't want them having what this is going on there. And then we'll go in and do that. That's what we did with what's his name, Osama bin Laden. Pakistan was supposed to be a friend of ours, an ally, right? We knew that they were lying to us. And so we went in without them knowing. Again, Navy SEALs. So they exfil, get in the water, and they realize one of the characters has lost air in their tank, and they don't have enough air in their tank to make the swim. So they have to do the buddy breathing system. It's a really good scene. It slows those two guys down to where the sun's starting to come up, and they're in the boat. Like Jason and the other team are all like, where the fuck are they? Where is Sonny? They finally show up, and it's a hairy moment because there's a boat out there doing searching, and they go underneath it and then get up and into the boat, and they exfil out, and they're up in the air, and they begin discussing the reality of the situation, which is even with this mission, this op going well, that doesn't mean it's going to save us. Bravo may be in trouble. So when we get back, we see Clay finally stand up for 2 minutes, and we see Jason not able to sleep because Mandy, his girlfriend, is talking about taking a job teaching in Afghanistan. He thinks she's going there to get revenge on the person that took her hostage. But she goes, no, I want to go help. I want to go do some help, do some good. And it scares him. It scares him. He doesn't want to be alone in dealing what he's dealing with. And it's funny to see that because all this time, that's all he's ever fucking wanted is be left alone. And now he's finally learning dependence on others, but he can't sleep that night. And he gets up and goes to Tactical Command Center and talks to Lisa. And Lisa tells him the fucking desk jockeys, they're wanting to end this stuff. No matter how well that op went, I have no good news so far. And that's what he was hoping for, because he realizes this could very well be the end of Bravo.
Yeah, she tells him it's more than rumors, and Team Bravo is in the talking. So that's
the end of the episode.
Where we left off, yeah.
So episode 1, episode 2, very good. Episode 2 is more of a transitional through the first part of it because we're dealing with jumps in time. And I think they shouldn't have done it that way. I think it should have been closer together because it doesn't last as long as they do. But yeah, I love the show. Last Ship, Zach. That's a damn good series. I hated that they ended it because it was so fucking good. That was a show that I felt could keep going. The showing of the rebuilding of the country. Adrian Paul. I can't remember who he played, but yeah, he made an appearance in there. Now I got to tell you, the Navy SEAL that was in that, I like that dude. I hated that he got killed. He was one of my favorite characters. Yeah, Bin Laden. Yeah. I did the graphic novel Code Word Geronimo for IDW. It was one of the best-selling books that year. Outsold All Hell Megatron for Transformers. And we're going to redo it. I've already done most of the new artwork for it. We just got to recolor some of it and re-letter it. And because I don't want to use the letters that were done by the first person. This needs to be, I want to do my own lettering. I like doing my own lettering. And we depicted probably the most accurate telling of the taking out of bin Laden. We showed exactly what happened. The only thing we made a mistake with in the original publishing was we had mixed reports on how the helicopter lost its tail section. And that is the one thing that I think they got right with Zero Dark 30. God, I hated that movie being called that. I got it. Zero Dark 30 has a meaning that is not really in that movie. The meaning of that Zero Dark 30 is you don't know what fucking time it is. You don't know what time it is what Zero Dark 30 means. When you hear like, what's the time? Nobody knows. It's Zero Dark 30 because it's dark. It could be like 9 o'clock at night, or it could be like 4 o'clock in the morning before the sun comes up. It's just dark. That's all you know. Loki here? Loki here? Did
No,
Loki
my
pop?
Loki. My Loki.
Oh, Loki the kitty. Okay, that's different.
Martin loves Loki.
So it was. Oh wait, let the wrong word tricked by its more accurate. They're the new communists. The weaponize compassion and use the same words with different meanings. Yeah, it's very subversive. It's like when you look at across the board, you go, "This is the same thing as that," but you make it sound so much better here. But no, it's the same fucking thing. It was great on the last ship that the story actually progressed in a realistic way. The world continued. I actually referred to the last ship being a really interesting take on Star Trek, as well as Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. I thought it was a really well done show, and it had Adam Baldwin in it. I fucking love Adam. I follow him all the time. Adam Baldwin is not a Baldwin brother. He is not related to those fuckers.
Oh, he's the superior Baldwin.
He is a superior Baldwin. He is. I posted and tagged him in a post because one of my favorite movies was My Bodyguard. And he's some tough guy that gets hired by the student to protect him. Great. Matt Dillon's in it. Great fucking film. If you've never seen it, go watch that movie.
No, never seen it.
I remember that day I came home from work and my girl was freaking out. She was like, Obama did it. And I was like, no, they did it. That's right. In fact, if anything, Obama is the reason why that SEAL team was killed.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They outed the team. And next thing you know, that team gets taken down, not by an RPG, but by a laser targeted, or not a laser targeted, but a homing missile. And the only way they could get that missile is through the CIA. U.S. forces had somebody worked with them, and they were in a Chinook, and they were shot down. And a majority of that team that took out bin Laden was killed that day. I think there's only 3 or 4 that survived that weren't on that helicopter. I don't like. Well, I got to be honest with you. I don't think 2 of the Baldwins can act, and the one that can act is a fucking nut job. He's out of his fucking mind. And now technically he's a murderer. I really do. Look, that pistol, you have to squeeze the trigger for it to work.
That's
and the first thing you're taught in gun safety is keep your finger out of the trigger housing unless you're going to use it.
And check the fucking weapon that is handed to you, even when you're an actor.
Even though that did not happen in real life, that scene in Black Hawk Down didn't happen. That was put in there because they wanted to make that great point that military guys, it doesn't matter if you're special forces, you're just really good fucking infantry grunts. This is my safety. That's my safety. Because when you walk around with a weapon, your finger is always like this outside the trigger housing. You do not pop it in there until you're ready to fire. Period. Ever. So there's no such thing as an accidental discharge with combat effective military.
One of my biggest pet peeves in watching shows with with guns, whether it has anything to do with the military, police, any crime type shows, is the lack of trigger discipline, because it is rampant everywhere.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, you see people all the time. It drives me crazy too. When I did the cover for Del Dye's book, Outrage, about the bombing of the Marine barracks in Beirut, for the republishing, he wanted a whole new cover. And he loved that cover. Here, I'll just fucking grab it real quick. I'll look it up real quick. I don't know how to spell my name. Where's it at? There it is. And now I will go grab the art. I gotta go to covers. Come on, load. I got this slow in it. Store pricing, book covers, cover art. There it is. Oh, for some reason that one's not there. So let me go back to the front. Are you kidding me? Why do I not have that on there? Here it is. All right. All right, so share screen. Oh, bleh. That cover. The if you can see it there, I'll make it larger because I can't do it on that screen for some reason. I can't enlarge it. You can see the fingers outside the trigger housing. And can you see that at all?
No. Oh, that's so small.
All right, stop sharing. Fuck. Anyway, so the first model I got told me that he was prior service military. And so he was Army, came over to the house. I dressed him up in the gear. And because I have a lot of World War II Korean, I used to have uniforms and gear so I could have models to do my military artwork and make sure it was accurate. And he's standing there doing what I'm telling him to do, except for one thing. He keeps fingering the fucking trigger housing. I'm like, hey, man, get your finger out of the trigger housing, man. Stop fingering that like it's your girlfriend, you know? And he'll pull it out, but then he'll put it right back in there. And he had no, God, man. I'm telling you, trigger discipline is necessary in the military. You have to have it. And I'm like, I started questioning if this guy is ever in the military. And it really bothered me. So the photo session ended that day and I sent him away and I just never used his photos. And then I have a redneck buddy of mine. It's still a friend of mine. I said, hey, man, can you come over? I need someone your size to pose. So he got in the uniform and he stood on the milk crate, of all things. And I'm going to see if I can find the artwork so I can just show it to you. And fucking, man, that dude, I didn't even have to tell him. The guy had, just from his being a hunter and all the shit he's done his whole life, had perfect trigger discipline. He kept that finger outside the trigger house. And
I told you I never held a weapon in my life, but I know to keep the finger out of there.
Yeah, it's just
one thing I know about weapon handling.
Yeah, it was driving me fucking crazy. So I'm going into the book cover, so I need to find it real quick here. I've done a lot of book covers for that publisher. Angel, Carry Me Home, Outrage. Where's Outrage? Outrage right there. All right, let me grab it. Is this small enough? No, it needs to be smaller. Smaller. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas. So as soon as this loads, I'll load it up for you. And actually, you'll see the trigger discipline on this guy that modeled for me. And there's a photo, showed it to you before, Anima, where I kissed him. I was so happy with him. You made me so happy. Posing. He did everything exactly the way I needed it. And I never served in the military. I said, I know. And it's amazing. When the apocalypse comes, I want to spend it with you.
Man, uploading that really fucks with your signal.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Incoming, more lip sync jokes.
No, Stephen Skull actually has really good weapons training. Because we were taught in the military, this is how we held our weapons. Moving forward, we were taught this is how you aim. I don't need to put my weapon up to my eye. This is how you aim, because something occurs in the human being. A lot of people don't know this, that we have an eye to hand thing, that when you point at something, if you were to lower your eye and look, you're aiming right at the subject. We have that thing. We do it instinctively. Human beings do that, and they train you in the military for to be more combat effective when you do pistol training, and especially if you have to shoulder fire without aiming, you aim by pointing, and that's another good reason why when you have your finger outside of the trigger housing, you're pointing at whatever it is you're going to shoot at when you raise your weapon, because you have different positions of firing. You have down ready, mid ready, high ready. Mid-ready is you walk into a room with your weapon aimed slightly downward, and it's shouldered, mind you, and you walk in, and then you're immediately up. It's just that quick. Low-ready is when you're around other people. You don't want your weapon mid-ready because it's actually going to be pointing at somebody at some point. So you keep it at low-ready. So there it is. Here's the painting. There it is. And you can absolutely see the finger on the outside of the trigger housing. When he did that without me asking him, I almost cried. I was like so impressed that he did that. And I even I compliment. I'm like, you know how to fucking hold a weapon. I like that, And but in the military, Steven Seagal, because they were talking about Steven Seagal carries the weapon correctly. He always keeps it close, low, and then up, and he doesn't go up to his eye. He fires from here because he uses the finger aiming method. Because whatever you point your finger at, you'll hit. You'll hit once you squeeze the trigger. Cavatino, yeah, that's exactly right. Gun Kata, Bill Barkley. I love that fucking movie, man. Christian Bale. Equilibrium is one of my favorite little movies that came out of nowhere. Low budget, sci-fi, action film. Gun Kata is fucking cool. So, but that's it. I don't know. I enjoyed today. I really enjoyed talking about some of the stuff we talked about. I'm not a fan of guns, but I respect them. Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny. It's a lefty who had one of the best moments with guns in a comedy is Seth MacFarlane. And Seth did an episode of American Dad, and his daughter Haley is like saying, guns kill. He goes, really? Really? He goes, hold on. He puts a gun on the table. All right, kill. Huh? Not doing anything. Not killing anybody. He puts the gun back in the holster, showing how Haley's so stupid for saying that. Guns don't kill. People kill. People kill. And the funny part, like way back in the 70s, they were starting this shit. You had Sally Struthers yelling at Archie Bunker, her, I don't remember her character's name, his daughter. And she's like, but Daddy, like 98% of murders are committed by gun, which isn't true. That wasn't true. And Archie responds back, would it make you happy if they'd been pushed out a window? And that it's like there was so much sage statements being made on that show about the logic of the crazy left and their hatred of things. It's like, do you really hate the murder, or do you just hate the item that they committed it with? You wouldn't lose your shit over them being stabbed to death. People are pushed out windows and off buildings all the time, pushed in front of vehicles, hit by vehicles. You're not out. More people are killed in vehicular homicide than by guns. You're not trying to outlaw that. More vehicular homicide. I'm using a specific word, not just killed, homicide, than by guns. Backdoor finger, Gary? Fuck you, Kyle. You son of a bitch.
I will admit, hey, Gary, I'll admit, I actually started that one. It wasn't Kyle.
Oh, fuck you, Mags. You
kick her.
You shit bird. Look,
She only came on to shit on you, Gerry.
I'm going to shit on her back right here. I'm going to say that
Okay.
my anus is just like your belly button.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's an outie, not an innie.
Goodbye.
At least I don't shit out of it.
I don't know. But there's some gross shit in there. No, I'm sure you keep a very clean navel base.
Yeah, take your nervous sip.
He's got freckles on her butt. She's nice. It's a real song from the 40s. When you hold her in her arms, you're in paradise. For the sailors give her chase because they love her naval base. She's got freckles on her butt. She's nice. It was on many a jukebox in the 40s. What's that? I really like Hong Kong dub effects. This episode is.
I think he's making fun of your internet.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I want to see. Gary's the area for offloading only tattoo. Stop motion. Gerry is the new backdoor Gerry. Yes. When they start shitting on me, it's time to end the show. So I'm going to do my thank you. I've got 2 bars. It says I have 2 bars. So I want to thank Penny for being here. Scott Lewis, thanks, buddy, for showing up. I know you weren't feeling well. Zacharot 315, D. Bud Martin, Sox Bulletins, Black Az, Kingsport Cal, Nicholas Glenn, Christopher Moonlight Productions, Bill Barkley, Marcos A., who is also Marcus on Twitter, Gap After Dark. And Gap After Dark is the gap previously known as the gap between Gal Gadot's thighs. Your Muslim Uncle, which is our Muslim uncle, Dragon Bricks, Mr. Tickle Trunk, Monkey Jeebus, War Monkey. It was a House of Monkeys today. It was also a House of Dragons. Magitech Mags, who is also on the show. Peter Vickman Fan Site, Joe's Atmosphere, Media Live, Zach's, a.k.a. Cal, Dadman Walking, Cavatino Calvarum and Che, Real Wade Nation. Thanks for showing up, guys. It's Monday, so I didn't expect a big crowd, but it was really nice seeing all you guys today. Almost everybody was in and out at least one time, so it was like we had the whole crowd, but not all at once. Fun talking about Navy SEAL Team. It's just a great show. If you're not watching it, you should start watching it. Start from the beginning. Watch Max Thoreau's character, Clay Spencer, change and grow as a character, because he's a fucking knuckle dragger at the beginning. I just wanted to beat his ass. And he was just a fucking troublemaker kind of guy. Well, I think things should be this way. And finally he learned, look, man, there's the real world, there's your world, and then there's the real world. You need to fucking move over and live in the real world, because the way you're living, that's fake. That's not real. You won't survive. You will fucking die. And new episode of Central Station is, I don't know that show. I'm going to have to check that out. I'll check it out today. I do know that I want to start talking about The Patient. I'm loving this fucking series. This last episode was traumatic. I was like hoping it wouldn't go there, and it went there, and I'm like, And I'm not going to tell you till the show. We'll talk about it.
I love you, but you're on your own with this one. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you watch it because it's too psychological.
Yeah.
And too dark for you. So good show. If you're not watching SEAL Team, start watching it. I'm telling you, it's a really good series. If you love the military and like supporting the military, watch the show because it supports the military. Absolutely does. So that's it, guys. Anybody else got something to say before we go?
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for dropping in, Mags. Thank you for being here, Anima. And Martin, as always, thank you for being the right side of my brain. It really fucking helps me do things. Because when I start focusing on talking, I get hyper focused. So, but anyway, see you guys tomorrow.
Welcome